everyone, my name is JoLynn Whittington. I'm a beginning YouTuber and beginning knitter. Today I will be talking about the things that you have in your knitting bag. I know there are a lot of videos out there about what people have in their knitting bags, and I thought I'd show you what's in mine as a beginner. Well, let's go to the handheld view. So the first essential in any knitting bag are knitting needles. There are 3 types of actual knitting needles. There are straight needles, which are good for working flat objects, DPN, which are good for working small items in the round, or knitting flat if you stopper up the edge so the stitches don't come off, and circular needles. Sorry, I forgot what I was saying for a moment. Circular needles are great for working in the round, working flat objects that are too big for your straight needles, and magic loop. I don't know magic loop at this moment, but I plan to learn so that I can help you guys learn as well. Crochet hooks. Crochet hooks can be really important when knitting, and you're probably asking me why. When you drop a stitch, it can do something called laddering. When you pick up your stitch, you want to do it with something like a crochet hook. I have 2 sizes. One is for when I am working on something that I'm only using 1 strand of yarn, and the other is for when I'm working with 2 strands of yarn, such as on my blanket. Then we have cable needles. Cable needles are essential for doing cables. You can use the DPN, but again, you run the risk of the stitches sliding off the side of the needle. So there are 3 types. There are straight ones, such as the DPNs. There's these ones with the humps. And there are the J or U-shaped ones, which are my favorite to use. Now we have stitch holders. Stitch holders are great for if you need your needles for another project, but want to keep the project you're working on. You just slip this through your stitches, and you have your needles free. Then we have the gauge tool. The gauge tool is used for checking your gauge with this hole here. It's a 2x2 square, and you can count how many stitches are per inch and to find out if you're in gauge or not. These holes are for checking the gauge of your needles in case the lettering came off or didn't come with lettering. Be warned, they can be a little finicky. Some sizes don't go through the right hole. Scissors. Scissors are really important. I don't have any small pairs, so I'm using the big pairs. But when you are changing balls of yarn, when you are finished with your piece and you want to weave in your ends, but you have a piece of a ball of yarn left, snip it. Measuring tape. I have a really big one, which is 120 inches, because I am making a blanket. You need to use a ruler or tape measure to check how long your knitting is. If it gets too long, it doesn't work right, and if it's too short, it doesn't work right. This group of essentials for your knitting bag begins with darning needles or tapestry needles. They are large needles, typically made of plastic or metal, with either a straight tip like these or a bent tip. They also typically have a large eye. Point protectors or needle protectors are used when you stop in the middle of your work but want to continue on later, or when you're putting your needles in your bag so they don't ruin the tips. Row counters. Row counters are great if you're working in long objects, such as scarves that have intricate detail, cables, or even blankets. These are great to have. This side rotates up 1, this side rotates up 10. You get the basic idea. They also come in electronic ones that you just push a button. They're like tally counters, I think. I don't have any of those. I want to get one, but at this moment, I don't have one. Stitch markers. Stitch markers are great. You can't really have enough of them because you lose them very easily, which is why they're in this little plastic container thing. But I have plastic ones, but they come in metal and, of course, plastic. They come in all kinds and varieties, and some are really fancy. I have really plain ones. I have the small circles, the big circles, and these lockable ones. Now, the lockable ones are great for when you're doing large amount of stitches, so you can count. Like every 25 or 50, you place a stitch marker, and then when you're done, you just take that stitch marker off. I use the green stitch marker to mark my rows or my rounds when I'm doing in the round, so that I know which way, so that I know where I started. I apologize for that. This last item in this group are marking pins. Use them when marking the edges of your work so that you know where to put a pocket or sleeves or something like that.